I'm Marco Simoncelli. I'm the throttle engineer for Team San Carlo.
It was hard to believe Marco Simoncelli was no more. His fans watching the 2011 Malaysian Grand Prix at Sepang that day would have seen the injuries he sustained, and sadly, he died from those injuries. Marco was a young rider that could have achieved so much more as a motorcycle racer. He could possibly have been a MotoGP legend. From the get-go, Marco gave excellent performances on the racetracks. He was the 2008 world champion in the 250cc class and was already being marked at being one of MotoGP's next rising stars to succeed the likes of Rossi, Stoner, Lorenzo and Pedrosa. Yes, we all miss him on the tracks, but for the huge tall guy that he was, he sure could handle a MotoGP bike to the fullest. Let's take a closer look. Marco Simoncelli began racing mini-bikes when he was 7 years old at Coriano, his hometown, and rose to the Italian 1996 Minimoto Championship when he was 9. He won the Italian Minimoto Championship in 1999 and 2000, and was runner-up at the European Minimoto Championship in 2000. That next year, he rose to the 125cc Italian Championship and claimed a victory for the title in his rookie year. He then competed at the 125cc European Championship in 2002 and again was victorious. After a great 125 European campaign, he made his first Grand Prix appearance in August with Mattioni Racing as a replacement for Jaroslav Hules, a Czech rider who had risen to the 250cc class. With an Aprilia bike and the number 37, Marco completed his first race at Brno in 27th position. In the next race at Estoril, he managed to gain championship points by finishing in 13th position. However, he failed to earn more points in the following races and completed the season with only 3 points from 6 races. He stuck with Team Mattioni Racing for his first complete season in 2003. In the same season, he also began using his popular bike number 58. He gained points in 6 races, and his best result was at Valencia, where he had a 4th position in the season's last race. He gained 31 points and was ranked number 21 in the last championship standings. Marco switched to Team Worldwide Racing in 2004, still working with Aprilia bikes. In the season's second race at Jerez, Marco claimed his first pole position. The race had been held under wet conditions, and Marco was in second place when Casey Stoner, who was leading the race, crashed out with only 3 laps remaining, giving Marco a chance to claim victory. And he did. Nonetheless, the victory was just a place on the podium for that season. He gained points in 7 other races and finished 11th at the end of the season with 79 points to count for. In 2005, Marco was still with Worldwide Racing. In the season's first opening race at Jerez, he qualified first and was victorious at the race, giving him a second victory at Jerez. Although he didn't win any more races for that season, he still managed to have 5 more podium finishes, and his consistency gave him a 5th place finish with a total of 177 points in the last standings. He rose to the 250cc class in 2006 and was recruited into Team Metis-Gilera, a motorcycle manufacturer from Italy who'd made their way back to the intermediate class after missing out for a long time. He tried the best he could to be Rookie of the Year, but in the end he lost to Shuai Aoyama, who beat him by 7 points and completed the season in 10th position overall. He continued with the same team, Metis-Gilera, in 2007, and that year's season was similar to the previous years. He finished 10th again in the final standings with no podium finishes. His first victory in the 250cc class came to him at Mugello during the Italian Grand Prix on June 1, 2008. He followed it up with another win on the 8th of June of the same year at the Catalan Grand Prix, when he overtook Alvaro Bautista on the final lap with 5 corners left. Marco claimed his 3rd GP win in the 250cc class at the German Grand Prix at Sachsenring on the 13th of July 2008, when he beat Barbera and Bautista by 2.5 seconds. He also had another victory in his class at the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix in 2008, where he narrowly took down Bautista. When Marco got to the penultimate round at the Malaysian Grand Prix, he claimed the 2008 World Championship for the 250cc class after he finished the race in 3rd position. In 2009 at Imola, Marco made an appearance in the World Superbike round for Aprilia as a one-off appearance. He was in the 2nd row and one of the 3 riders who crashed out of the race while running 5th at Tosa, before battling through to 3rd in the 2nd race, forcefully overtaking Max Biaggi, his teammate, and made his way onto the podium. It was confirmed that Marco would rise up to the Premier Class Racing on June 25, 2009 for the 2010 season, with an agreement to ride for Team Scancalo Gresini Honda. The 2010 season started slow for Marco, especially after he had crashed at Sepang twice during pre-season testing, of which the second crash had enough impact to crack his helmet. He finished his debut outing in 11th position and improved as the season progressed, finishing 16 of those races out of 18 in the points to end the championship in 8th position with 125 points. Marco's best result was a position 4 in Portugal, where he fell short of reaching the podium by only 0.06 seconds, and Andrea Dovizioso made the best of it. Marco got a promotion in the season of 2011 to ride with a factory Honda with Team Gresini, while Hiroshi got a satellite Honda. Marco was predicted to be the season's surprise package and was in 5th position in the season's first race in Qatar, then fell out of the lead at the Wet Jerez race. Marco struck Danny Pedrosa while competing for second at the Le Mans French Grand Prix, and as a result, Danny fell off and broke his collarbone. Marco was penalised and given a ride-through penalty, after which he went on to finish 5th in the race. From the beginning, Marco had refused to take accountability for the crash because he had braked later than required and had given Danny room. Before the next race though, he agreed that he would think more carefully about his riding style. Marco was required to have a word with race direction right before the beginning of the Catalunya racing weekend. He claimed his first pole position in MotoGP on the track, just ahead of Casey Stoner. Nevertheless, a poor start dropped him to 7th position, and he only managed to reach 6th position by the end of the race. Marco claimed his first Premier Class podium in the Czech Republic, where he finished in 3rd position. His best result in the MotoGP was at Phillip Island, where he finished the race in 2nd position. The end of an era for a much-loved racer. On October 23, 2011, Marco had an accident which involved Colin Edwards and Valentino Rossi at the Sepang International Circuit during the Malaysian Grand Prix. While in 4th position on the second lap, his bike lost traction at the 11th turn and began to slide towards the gravel. But traction quickly returned to the tyres and his bike immediately veered across the track into Colin Edwards and Valentino Rossi's path. Unfortunately for Marco that day, the lower part of his body was struck by Edwards, and with Rossi not being able to avoid the collision, he also struck Marco in the head. Both Edwards and Rossi couldn't keep their bikes from hitting him. The race was immediately red flagged. Edwards was thrown off his bike and dislocated his shoulder, but for Marco, he experienced more severe injuries and was rushed to the medical centre for the circuit in an ambulance. Less than an hour after the accident, it was announced that Marco had died from his injuries. At a press conference later, Michel Macchiadena, the medical director, stated that Marco had suffered very serious trauma to his head, neck and chest. Marco's body was flown back home to Italy, accompanied by Paolo, his father, Marco's fiancée Kate Fretti, and Valentino Rossi. His body was transferred to a theatre located in Coriano, Rimini, and placed in an open coffin. A walk-through memorial allowed the visitors and fans to pay their respects. The Galera that had won him the 250cc World Championship and his Honda for the 2011 MotoGP were also included. An estimated 20,000 people showed up for his funeral, held at Coriano in the Santa Maria Assunta parish on October 27, 2011. Valentino Rossi was truly devastated by the incident and the loss of his good friend. It prompted him to bring about the VR46 Riders Academy. Although there have been many riders from its opening days, Valentino has always said, "Marco, in my eyes, will always be the first rider of the Academy," even though the Academy wasn't there before his passing. In honor of Marco Simoncelli, the Misano circuit renamed itself to the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. On the 3rd of February 2014, it was made known to his fans and loved ones that Marco Simoncelli would be inducted into the MotoGP Hall of Fame. Here are some interesting things about Marco Simoncelli. Number 1. Marco was born in Catalisa, though he grew up in Coriano since childhood with his family. Number 2. His nickname is Supersic. Number 3. He was engaged to be married at the time of his accident. Number 4. He died when he was 24 years old. Number 5. Valentino Rossi was a very close friend of Marco Simoncelli, both on and off the track. His personal life. Marco's life was cut short before he could start a family, but he still lives on in his fans' and family's memories.